We're ready to set this seam. Always set the seam before you iron them open. We're just going to come along and iron on top of it. Then we bump it open, and we should have a perfect T in the center where those seams come together. We want to apply our Dresden plate onto the background square. But before we do that, we have this hole in the middle that we have to cover up or do something with. So I like to apply that onto the Dresden plate before I put the plate onto the background square. The way that we do that, I know what size I want it. I have cut a perfect circle out of a file folder. You can do this by buying the little cutters, the hole cutters that come with scrapbooking. And I found this size that works well with different things, and so I bought one. And I cut out circles from file folders, and they give me really pretty circles. The next thing we want to do, we're going to apply this on. We want to take some fusible interfacing and put the rough, the bubbly side down. We're going to put this circle on this and draw around it with a sharp pencil or pen. You can use the implement of your choice. It is nice to have a little cheap battery-operated pencil sharpener for this reason. Keeps all your points nice and sharp. Now we're going to make our circle, and then we're going to layer it good side up with the material with our circle we drew, and we can just snip out around that, just the part we need. And we're going to, with a tight stitch, sew exactly on that line we just drew all the way around, and then I'll show you how to turn it. We have completed sewing around our circle here. The next step, since we're going to turn it, we want it to turn easily. I take my old-fashioned pinking shears, something that not a lot of people have, but they're nice for things like this. If not, you can use scissors. But I want to trim around the circle, close to it, but don't cut into it. We want to be able to turn this circle very easily and have a nice, clean edge. So I'm going to trim all the way around it. When I get back to the beginning, we're going to take our regular scissors. Now, we have to turn it, so we're going to try to pull this apart. I do not want to cut the good side. So, I have my good side on this side and my interfacing on this side. I'm going to clip into the interfacing a little bit, making sure not to go all the way through. Now, make your opening wide enough. Don't go all the way to the edge, but wide enough that you can get in there. Now, I want to start turning this inside out. And we're going to have the good side of the material showing and the bubbly side of the fusible interfacing showing, so that we can iron this down and it will stay put until we apply it on. Now this tool right here is for hand pressing when you do not have an iron. I like it because of the edge. I can put it in here, and it's sort of an easier way to turn the edge of this circle, and it will push all these edges out really nice without poking through. Then when I get all the way around, let me make sure I got all the way around there, I'll use the pointy end and just make sure we get all the edges out even. We want a nice round circle, as round as we can get it. So now we have this piece and we're ready to apply it onto the Dresden plate. Now we have our center of our Dresden plate here. We've turned it, it's nice and round. I want to fold it in half where the edges are even and just finger pinch the 2 points so I can find the midpoint. Now I'm going to line the midpoint up with the midpoints of 2 of these sections of the Dresden plate. And you can kind of just eyeball it here. But you know if those are right, and if it looks centered, you're doing good. So we have that in place. Now we have our nice hot iron. We're going to set that down on it and hit it with a little steam if you want, but be still. We want to secure that to the Dresden plate so it won't go anywhere else. Now that's going to stick there enough that we can pick it up and carry it up to the sewing machine, and we're going to apply it on with the sewing machine. If you want to do this step by hand, you can, but we're going to use the sewing machine today. Now I have my Dresden plate with the center in place. I brought it to the sewing machine. I have changed my sewing machine to where it is on a blanket or blind stitch. If you don't have this, you can use a zigzag stitch. I have loosened my tension on the top so that it will not pull so tightly and make it feel stiff. So loosen your top tension on your thread. Then I have set up for this blanket stitch, and you'll have to use your machine manual for that. I want to come down and bring my thread up to the top. This is going to make sure we don't have a big gob of thread underneath there. Now the way this stitch works, it's going to take several stitches at the outside, just outside of the center here, and then one inside. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this next stitch is going to bite over into the center. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bite. And we're going to continue this all the way around this circle.